Warning: the following video contains disturbing material that may be inappropriate for younger viewers. Parental discretion is advised. Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to the month of October serial killer-thon. And on day 11th, I give you Andrei Chikatilo. As you all might know, I'm having a little hard time monetizing my videos, so I need you to share, like the video if you like it. If not, let me know what I can do to mix it up and make it better for you. And subscribe because we're at 7.9. And it went up from a 2.2, so I'm really happy about that, but I know we can do better. With that being said, guys, here's Andrei Chikatilo. Roll that intro. Andrei Chikatilo, the Rostov Reaper, killer of over 50 women, girls, and boys, came to the attention of the world following his arrest in 1990, just as the Soviet Union was about to break up. Indeed, had he been caught earlier, it is more likely that his name would have remained obscure. Soviet Russia liked to pretend such crimes as serial killer were a product of the West. We still don't know the full extent of criminality during the years of the communist regime. Chikatilo was born in a village deep in the heart of rural Ukraine. On October 19, 1936, the baby was found to have water in its brain, which gave him a misshapen head. It was later revealed it was a degree of brain damage. He was also unlucky enough to be born during the period of forced collectivization imposed by Stalin, a time of terrible famine and untold suffering. According to Chikatilo's mother, Andrei had an older brother named Stepan, who was kidnapped and eaten by starving neighbors during this time. It is unclear if that is actually true. There is no record of a Stepan Chikatilo ever existing, but it was certainly a tale that succeeded to traumatize the young Chikatilo. Thomas Harris later borrowed the awful story to explain the pathology of his fictional serial killer, Hannibal Lecter. To make matters worse, the boy's early childhood was spent during the Second World War, when the region's misery grew even worse. His father was taken prisoner during the war, then sent to a Russian prison camp on his return. On leaving school, Chikatilo joined the army. He also joined the Communist Party, which was essential for any ambitious young person who wanted to succeed in Soviet Russia. On leaving the army, he worked as a telephone engineer and studied in his spare time to gain a university degree, which eventually allowed him to become a school teacher near his home, Rostov-on-Don. At the same time, he married a woman named Faina, found for him by his sister. As it emerged later, Chikatilo had a lifelong problem with impotence, but he did manage to father 2 children. Chikatilo appeared to be living a regular life. By the time his dark urges began to express themselves, he was 42 years old, much older than most serial killers. In 1979, he chose his first victim, a 9-year-old girl. He took her to a vacant house in the town, attempted to sexually assault her, failed, and then using a knife stabbed her to death and dumped her body into the river. She was found there on Christmas Eve. Luckily for Chikatilo, who was questioned as a suspect in the case but was given a false alibi by his wife, a known local rapist, Alexander Kravchenko, was beaten into confession for his crime and put to death. Nevertheless, evidence of Chikatilo's true nature began to leak out, and he was fired from his teaching job for fondling the boys in the school dormitory. His party membership came in handy, however, and he was given a new job as a traveling procurement officer for a factory. The job involved plenty of moving around the area, and thus plenty of opportunities to kill. His preferred method was to approach his victims at a train or bus station and lure them into the nearby woodlands to kill them. He started again in 1982 with the murder of a 17-year-old girl who was known locally for exchanging sexual favors for food and drink. Chikatilo strangled her and put dirt in her mouth to muffle her screams. He later claimed that the first killing upset him, but that the second one thrilled him. In June 1982, he killed his next victim, a 13-year-old girl, by cutting out her eyes, an act that would become his trademark. Over the next year, he killed 6 more times. 2 of his victims were young men. What the killings had in common was their increasingly savagery and the removal of body parts, particularly the genitals. It was believed that Chikatilo ate the parts he removed in a hideous echo of his brother's fate. However, he himself only confessed to nibbling on them. The murders attacked much police concern, but the Soviet media was not permitted to publicize the existence of a maniacal killer on the loose. In the single month of August 1984, 8 victims were found. The only clue the police had was that, judging by the semen found on the bodies, of some of the more recent victims. The killer's blood group was AB. Soon afterwards, in late 1984, Chikatilo was arrested on a railway station where he was stalking young girls. He was found to have a knife and a length of rope in his bag, but because his blood group was A, not AB, he was released. This discrepancy was never explained. Released by the police, Chikatilo simply carried on killing. Dozens more innocents lost their lives over the next 5 years. In 1988, he claimed 8 lives, and in his last year of freedom, in 1990, he killed 9 more people. By then, there was a new detective that had taken over the case. The detective had a plan of flooding the train and bus stations with detectives, and eventually the plan paid off. Immediately after murdering his final victim, a 20-year-old, Chikatilo was spotted perspiring heavily and apparently bloodstained. At a station, a detective took his name, and when he went to realize that he had previously been a suspect, he was arrested. After 10 days in custody, he finally confessed to 52 murders, more than the police had been aware of. He was arrested and brought to trial on April 1992, locked inside a cage to protect him from victims' relatives. Chikatilo was a shaven-head madman who ranted and raved in the courtroom. Found guilty on February 15th, 1994, he was executed by a single bullet to the back of the head. Unfortunately, guys, that's all the time we have for today. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment who you think the next serial killer is going to be. If you want to reach out to me, you can follow me on Twitter, and I also have a Twitch channel, which I'm going to start gaming in a couple of days. Different types of games, so it's not all just dark and gloomy, so hope to see you there. Until next time, guys, sweet dreams.